Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Final stretch? That's not a suggestion, although if you need to do a final stretch, you can. Well, welcome to what I think will be a thrilling and exciting chance to vote people off an island. Who doesn't want to do that?
We vote you off?
It's happened several times.
We voted them off the bus last night.
So I wanted to kind of share a little bit about how this will go. Basically, we've assembled a really great group of people across a spectrum of different types of marketing agencies with the intent of trying to create a collaboration sort of conversation here internally about what's happening both in the industry itself as well as agencies specifically. Talk a lot about SocialBridge as well, and then kind of a random shoot across the board. So the premise is we're going to try to mix up the panel concept a little bit, and I'll get into the details in just a moment. So at the end of the day, there's 5 brave panelists. We've confirmed that there is no weaponry around. These folks are all friends. 4 rounds of questions, but unfortunately only 1 survivor will remain on the island. So we'll hold 4 rounds of questions. Topics, like I'd mentioned, will include things around collaboration challenges, the move to digital in the marketing space. Speakers will then compete to remain on stage in a heated face-off. And at the end of the day, at the end of each round, we'll give you an opportunity to text in your vote on who you thought added the most value for that particular round. So please get your smartphones out, if you don't mind. And I may make an extra cautionary tale to mind autocorrect, because you will want to make sure you are exact in your vote. Otherwise, it'll create potentially a cuss word or any number of things, and your vote will not be captured.
I'm running the poll.
Oh, you're running.
At the end of each round of questions, you're going to vote for the panelists you thought added the most insight. You will use your phone, as I mentioned. And once the voting is over, you'll be able to see live who the person with, unfortunately, the least amount of votes will be politely escorted off the stage. We have a gift, though. It's meant to be fun. So it's all in good fun. And effectively, when the panelist happens to depart the stage, we're still going to highly encourage them to participate in the conversation. The goal here is great feedback and great conversation. So remember, it's all in good fun, no hard feelings. I can't believe I actually get to vote customers off. I will never do that again. The round structures, like I mentioned, we'll start with industry trends, probably the broadest part of the conversation, and then move into sort of more specifically around agency trends. What's happening in your agency, what are the challenges you're encountering in dealing with customers, delivering great service. We'll move then into SocialBridge, the product itself, and then we'll do sort of a random shoot as well. And this appears to be a man in a mermaid outfit, which I guess is what we mean by random. So without further ado, I'd actually like to ask you to provide some applause to our brave panelists up front. On the left, we have Marie Schiller. She's the Global Chief Client Operations with RAPP. So welcome, Marie. Next to Marie, we have Brenda Miller with St. John Partners, the project manager there. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. We are not in order like we thought we were.
We are on the poll.
Jackie Stagg with Eastern Director of Operations. We combed the internet looking for a picture.
I'm just private.
And then, of course, next to her is Brenda Miller, project manager at St. John Partners. We have Heggem, who's the SocialBridge Project Leader at CAHG. Last but not least, we have DeFriend, Director of Technology Development at Javelin. You all ready? So the microphone's there. Make sure that it's armed and ready. Not guns on your person. Perfect. Just the mic. There we go. So we'll keep this pretty free-flowing. We'll start with a round of 4 questions, 8 minutes total. Anybody's encouraged to participate. So the first question is what kinds of new things are your clients beginning to demand of you these days? Please, Brenda.
I'm going to say more results. We get a lot of data, and there's a lot of numbers, and we get all that, but how do you use that? How do you get to your client what they want in the results and stuff? So I think they are wanting to be able to quantify, everything that we do. So we have added a program called Tableau that takes all that information and data and puts it in a real useful, meaningful kind of database for them, and it's customizable. So they have their own database, and they can go on there and it's a dashboard that shows all the results in real time, how it's coming through. So they don't have to wait. It used to be you would wait a month, and then you would get feedback from the media that you were working with, and you would try to, quantify that for them. And right now, you can get that numbers real time, and you can adjust your media. You can go, if one banner is working well, you can actually add media weight to that, make it 80%. Some of your other banners aren't doing well, you can lower them to 20%. So it really is effective.
Allowing them to iterate on the campaign.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Rachel, you have a comment?
That was a really good answer. Our clients are, what I mostly hear is, can we make that for mobile? Can we mobile optimize? Can we have mobile optimized emails? And why do I have to pay more for that? Video is another big thing that I hear a lot of our clients pushing for, trying to be more engaging and have more interactivity with our customers, as well as looking at responsive design. So definitely more from a technology standpoint, we're looking more to do that. And again, it goes back to the, hey, can this look better on my iPhone, please? And I think just apps in general, like what's moving in that direction, and how can we create that for our clients, and does it make sense to actually have an app? Because that's a whole other conversation. So that's pretty much what we hear a lot from the technology end is, how can we get things on our devices to look better and more usable.
And our agency, our clients are wanting to work with fewer agencies. They want a one-stop shop. They don't want to go to multiple agencies to get all their marketing materials done. We are in the pharmaceutical space, so they have managed market needs, they have digital needs, they have clinical trial needs. We're able to support all that. But the biggest thing we're hearing is they want the A team on every single one of their assignments. They want experts on their digital tactics. They want experts on their managed markets. So we've developed something called custom configured teams, where we pull from across the agency, across all of our practice disciplines, and we pull the experts that are particular to that job. So if it's a digital job, we pull from our CNI team. We get our designers involved in translating the campaign to work well on an iPad. If it's a managed markets, we pull from our managed markets team. So, and they also want efficiency. So, which is why we bought SocialBridge. We need to be able to operate more efficiently, faster, turn around things faster than we had in the past.
This is a little bit different, but our clients are asking us, how do we leverage social data very quickly, like in a day? Can we harvest text strings and conversations and everything that's happening online on the internet, and make it meaningful to them that they can react quickly? So we've developed a new group called Sparks and Honey. They actually harvest tons of conversation, put it into an analytic algorithm, and provide almost leading-edge trend analysis to help us get in front of what's happening so that we can bring ideas to the client before the idea is already been baked. So kind of a cool intersection of analytics and data and technology.
Excellent. Great.
Follow this up.
Closer up.
Our agency is very much focused on just the digital aspect of it, not so much creative. We do creative, but what we're finding is more of our clients are really demanding more information around the performance of display campaigns. So not only just how are they performing, but what publishers are performing the best, as well as what types of media are performing better, whether it be rich media banners versus standard.
Let's move on to our next question. What kinds of shifts are you seeing in how clients want to spend their marketing dollars? How are they asking to spend their marketing dollars?
We're just going to go around on number one, I guess, for some reason. Actually, we're going more digital. We're seeing more and more dollars go to digital. And right now, it's about 11%. And we take about 50% from TV and 50% from print. And radio is staying about that normal. But yeah, they're wanting to spend about 11% more.
In the healthcare space, you've probably heard about the patent cliff. A lot of brands are going off patent, going generic. So a lot of the pharma companies are pulling back their advertising dollars and putting it into R&D. So they have less dollars to spend in marketing. So they want to make most effective use of those dollars. So they're asking us to take our traditional print pieces that we've done and translate that so they can live in the multi-channel world. So we are translating their campaigns into iPads, but we have to do it more efficiently and cost less because they're taking a lot of their dollars and putting it into R&D to develop new drugs. That's building our business that we support in clinical trials because we start with a compound before it's even approved. So we see more money going into clinical trial support and away from the marketing communications, but we offer all those segments within our agency, so we see the dollars shifting between our practices.
Almost having to do more with less.
We see a lot more quantitative type of, they want more quantitative type of results. So what kind of media will help us get those numbers, those metrics, so we can optimize them and then, be smarter about the way that we're spending our dollars out to our customers. And we have a massive analytical think tank, a part of our Javelin marketing group, and it's crazy. PhDs are up there like crunching numbers like nobody's business and helping our clients provide these econometrics or whatever that's all called. And what's great is that they could take these numbers and these complex algorithms and make something really simple for the customer to understand, the client to understand how to go ahead and forecast and put things forward. And then my team gets to build the apps and the dashboards where they can actually visualize that. So we see more of that coming in to making sure that when they're working harder and smarter.
Digital measurability. Yeah. What else?
I would say that our clients are realizing that search is typically provides the highest ROI. So the challenge for us is always they want to put the bulk of the budget into paid search, and so it's getting them to understand that digital actually feeds into that, as well as we're seeing that they're spending willing to spend more money on social media advertisement and mobile search as a display.
Go on to our next question to keep it going.
All roads point to digital.
Commentary,
Thank you. How have you made a greater effort to quantify your efforts, kind of along the lines of the theme of measurability? Quantify your efforts under the lens of ROI for any of your clients.
Well, I would say for RAPP, our history is in attribution and data, so this is a space that we should be very familiar with. I think for us, with the difference now, it's not just ROI, it's ROI with scale. So how you actually acquire, retain, and optimize your customers on a greater scale with less dollar. You can always have a positive ROI, but if you're not getting more out of that ROI, more customers, it's not worth the ROI anymore.
We have two actually. One is time is money. Our clients are wanting to work more efficiently, so that's why we're looking at SocialBridge to improve our processes and turn things around more efficiently. But we've been able to differentiate our agency compared to other agencies in the regulatory. Everything that we produce for our clients falls under regulatory compliance. So everything gets reviewed by DDMAC and the FDA. So we felt that it was important to invest in our staff, all the client-facing staff, to be certified in regulatory compliance. So we are the first agency in the U.S. to be certified by the CCC, and that has proven to procurement as a huge value add because they trust that we are bringing them and telling them what they can say that will get past the FDA.
That unique expertise, that's great. Anyone else?
I was going to say, that whole analytical think tank, with ROI is great, but we also look at how they can get improved ROI. I mean, you're spun off of RAPP, so we kind of have some DNA that's the same. Is the lifetime value of the customer. So you're looking at not just what is it doing to my books, but what is that customer going to get me in 3 years and 10 years. And so understanding what that life cycle is like and what that history is for that customer within the marketing campaign and in the business.
Finally, what kind of impact are you seeing as clients, kind of what we talked about earlier, are now shifting more of their marketing dollars to digital? What is the impact on your agency? What is the impact overall?
I think the impact for us is my team gets to do more cool work. So we need to find people who can actually do more digital and think bigger and have more conceptual thinking about what's out there and not just this is an email, I'm just going to get it done. It's like, how does this integrate across everything that our clients are doing, whether it's mass or direct mail or an app. And so I think thinking bigger on understanding what that digital ecosystem is like, and then how our consumers are actually consuming that information, and then build in some cool shit to support it.
We can be online really fast now, and I think that is helping our clients tremendously. So when they have a shift like we have Florida Lottery, and when they jackpot rolls, we can get online really fast, and instead of it used to be the old print boards and the billboards, the 30-sheet posters, stuff like that. We have digital boards, so it's not just digital online. There's all kinds of digital worlds. And so we can, instead of 2 weeks getting a banner online, we can get it online in a day.
Well, it sounds like round one is officially over. And now it is your chance to vote on who you thought added the most value to that initial round of questions. So you will text the person's name that you see there to the short code 22333. Please begin voting now.
One vote per person.
One vote per person.
And it's the person's full first name plus last initial. Someone's quick on the pen.
Be mindful of autocorrect once again if you need to get these exact.
Mark, how do we vote?
You text this name or this name or this name or this name or this name to 22333 and hit send.
Well, Jackie and I are probably living along together.
There are gifts for folks. Think about another 30
Self-esteem
seconds.
counseling, I'm sure.
They're in the back. No problem.
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting how it keeps changing.
I personally like the cool shit.
Well, that's why I think she ran out the gate at the beginning. I like the formula. Okay. 10 seconds or so.
Everyone's on the board. Oh!
That was some cool shit. Those that are taking a while, it seems like some don't have smartphones.
Are they the dinosaurs?
Yeah, they're dinosaurs.
Can we vote multiple times?
One time only.
Only one time. You can try, but it'll only register once.
Well, we would like to thank our time battle for
I think it's still a long shot.
anyone else still texting?
We're tied.
Please give a round of applause to Jackie Stagg. Jackie will still be made available to participate in the panel so we can keep the dialogue going. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Round two, agency trends. Down to 4. First question, focused around the agency, your agency. What is the single greatest challenge confronting your agency today? The largest challenge?
So we just celebrated our 50th anniversary this year, which is a huge milestone for an agency to achieve. And we've had long-standing clients. One of them for 50 years, another one for 30 years, another one for 22 years. And we have always worked under the AOR model, and now we're seeing that procurement is taking the lead on finding agencies, and we have to pitch for every single job now. And plus, with the consolidation of looking for, oh my God, I forgot the word. I'm just going to get voted off. So we now are investing so much more in our new business efforts because we have to pitch for everything. It's no longer, the clients are no longer going with the AOR model because procurement's running the show on this. So, and we're up against pitching up against 18 agencies to keep business that we normally would have got under the AOR model. So that's one of our biggest challenges. So we're trying to differentiate ourselves by the CCC certification, which is one of the things that's helping.
Shift of resources more to new business. Interesting. Great.
I have to say, from what I see, and maybe executives have a different opinion, but they're not up on this panel. I think it's resources, finding the right resources and enough resources that can actually do the work that our clients are requesting and what we need to do to keep pushing us forward. And so again, it just I think comes not just the bodies that we throw at stuff, but who those bodies are and what they actually bring is I think it's just a big issue with in general at agency life. So our agency has some pretty awesome talent. But it's just, how do we keep it moving? How do we keep, forging forward and making sure that we can be more profitable with the talent that we have?
For us, I think it's pace. The pace of change just in the space, in the ad space, in the category. It's really taxing on the momentum in the agency and on the people. So even when you can find great specialists and great talent, we're asking them to do a lot more than we ever used to. So pace is really taking its toll if it's not managed.
Our greatest challenge today is going from a fee-based structure to more project-based. Used to be we're a full-service agency, and we were agency of records. We didn't have to worry about timesheets, things like that. Scope of work, it was all included in the fee. And then at the end of the year, you would look and make sure that you were profitable on that fee, and you would adjust or renegotiate your accounts. Now people are coming to you, different agencies, and we've been against a lot of different agencies for just project work. And it's been really difficult to scope it properly, the amount of man hours it's going to take, and outside resources, and production dollars, because it really just was always in the fee. So we have to be really, really careful, or we'll end up even losing money on those projects.
Interesting. So shift away from AOR, fighting more often for your business to keep the business you already have.
Exactly.
And resource constraints, the right kind of talent. Great.
Yep.
Do you think the trend of democratizing idea creation from creative teams out to the entire agency at large is productive? So rather than letting the incubation take place really in a small cluster of people, democratizing it out beyond simply that group?
We open it up to a lot of different divisions in our agency, but anybody can come up with a great idea. We can all do that. But how do you make that idea stick through all the different mediums that we have to place it? We can come up with a great TV concept. How does that work for radio? How does that work for digital out of home? So, we always bring other ideas in to feed seeds to our creative teams, but then they've got to be the ones that really take this and be able to move it through the whole system.
So, going back to what I talked about before, we custom configure teams. We bring in the staff for, the collaboration is in our culture, kind of going back to what the last session was, the collaboration is in our culture. People are used to working together, and when we custom configure our teams, we bring in the right talent with the right experts. So if it was a digital project, we have the right UX, UI designers there to develop the creative ideas. So it's just inherited in our culture, the way that we came up with something called Spark Sessions. It was innovative on our Chief Creative Officer's part, that we take people off-site for a week and we concentrate all of that creative effort with the right people that are built on that team to come up with ideas, and they're shared across the agency, and then they're actually posted up on the walls and people vote on them. So we get a lot of input into all of our creative ideas.
I agree. I think creative is it's a department for a reason. I think we can all be creative and all offer up awesome ideas, and I think different perspectives help inspire that creative team and that creative process. And I, love to bombard them in their brainstorming sessions because it's just way too much fun, and there's usually food. But I think creative consistently has to deliver a solution, and so pulling in the people that they feel like they need to pull in, I think, is important for them. But opening up to the entire agency at whole, I think it could create some mediocrity. We all think that we're artists or film producers because we have something up on YouTube, but it doesn't mean that it's actually great art. And so I think that's where we come in to creative, and that talent should be there for a reason, to be consistently creative and deliver on what we need every day.
Yeah, I mean, I can say in our particular organization, in some ways, we try to protect the creators a little bit from over-input, given sort of their somewhat heightened sensitivities towards this is the work they do, this is what they live and breathe.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
The only other thought I had is not only do we democratize it within the agency, the ideation, but we're shifting more to democratizing the development. So rapid prototyping, we even have a hothouse method, we call it Blender. You have 72 hours to go from idea to product. So a lot more of our shift is in the doing. The thinking is just as important, but not coupling the thinking and the doing. So we're democratizing development, if you will.
Good. Do you find that idea of democracy, keeping on that theme, is more effective in certain mediums over others? Certain types of... Yeah.
Well, if I go back to the idea that we have the custom configure teams, that we're bringing in the right experts for whatever the project is, it works for every kind of project because we have the right people on the custom configure team. So I think it works for us.
I just to tag onto that, if you don't mind, and the rest of you please feel comfortable sharing this. What techniques are you using to rapidly acquire the different types of people and assemble those teams as you're describing?
So one of the things I'm trying to do in SocialBridge, which I have a database now, is we have a profile on every staff. Therapeutic experience and what disease state experience they have is very important on a client's piece of business, and also what background, and we have all of their strengths. And right now I'm pulling that out of a Microsoft Access database so that we have a profile of everybody on the agency. We can run a report really quick to see who's available. We need to work with resource management to see if we can pull them in. But we custom configure the teams based on the strengths that they bring to the table. And then that's how we know who to invite to these Spark sessions. And the Spark sessions, we get people off-site so they're not busy thinking about the 10 other jobs they have to work on. It's very consolidated time. And they come up with great ideas, but we've been able to pull the right talent and the right experts into that creative. So it works for us across all mediums.
Sort of the theme of just making sure it's an intentional component of your agency. You're intending to go out and look for other people across the spectrum of ideas. That's great. Anyone else?
I should say real quickly that online forums usually, it's a good medium. So like your idea sphere, that's exactly what we're doing. Starbucks My Ideas rewards or whatever it was called. Where you could offer up an idea and then people could vote on it, and then the panel of people who actually make decisions about that business could look at it and then see if that's something that can enhance and we could forward and it fits into our overall vision. And so I think online forums and communities such as Drupal, like a great way for people to actually give stuff freely and then it be worked on and continue to grow. So it's a great way to capture that democratization of idea generation and actually producing a product.
We bring everybody in at the beginning of a brief. So everybody knows and understands the product, what the strategy is, what the target is, what the main vision is for that product. So across the board, everybody understands it. And then we have basically rooms we call concept rooms where all the ideas go up on the wall and people do come through and they add to it. So our social media experts will come through and they'll say, oh my gosh, that idea would be so fabulous for this. And so they just add to it, and by the end, when we're really starting to put it into buckets, so TV, radio, all those buckets really come together because we have PR in there, and we have media in there, and we have everybody all working together.
Alignment almost from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. T-shaped talent, the topic here. The idea that people have a core competency, sort of here, but then you also need to create some level of competency in other areas to make them a little bit more full value. T-shaped talent sounds to be the future of agency staffing. You can't just simply hire somebody to do one thing. They need to do a multitude of things and do it well. Do you guys have a strategy today for finding and attracting and keeping that kind of talent?
So our human resources is called TalentWorks. Our culture is based on our core values that we have in our company, which is all around collaboration. Our TalentWorks department has come up with interview questions that when we interview a candidate, in addition to interviewing for their expertise that we're hiring, most of our writers and our directors all have to have medical backgrounds or scientific backgrounds because of the nature of our business. But they also help us prompt with questions that will allow to assess if somebody can collaboratively work in a team. So our talent works department helps us with interview questions like that, so that we can kind of assess in advance.
We have an obstacle course that people have to take, and you really get to see, what they can or cannot do. So that's where we go, as well as Craigslist.
Next year will actually be an obstacle course.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think our HR department does, a good job trying to find what we need within our teams, and so talking to the people who are going to be working with that person and the types of projects, and then using all sorts of different, LinkedIn and people who bring in the contractors with staffing agencies, and just really trying to figure out different personalities. But I think a T-shaped employee is a really great asset. It's just as long as that SME part is really important to make sure to keep us all grounded, as opposed to just an upside down team. We're all just kind of floating and thinking we're hybrids and can do everything.
Make sure they have their strong core of expertise, and that's fair enough. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick, I agree with the T-shaped talent, but to Rachel's point, the eyes, the vertical D specialist is a lot of times why clients come to agencies. We try to use the same strategy to keep talent, which is Helen, our chief talent officer, the 3 M's. Find out what really motivates people, your top talent, what is their professional currency, whether it's community or autonomy or recognition, but know their motivation. The second is make exceptions. If you have incredible talent, you should make exceptions to do things like if they want to telecommute one day or have a different kind of an office. So she's come up with some interesting, and it's little things. This is not anything that's new and special, but trying to institutionalize, making the role models and the stars in the agency, whether they're T's or I's, stay with the company.
Interesting. Great. Well, time has come. Please vote in round 2 for who you thought, although they all added a tremendous amount of value, perhaps maybe just slightly more than the remainder of the time. Please vote now. And we're off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Round 3, we start drinking, so it's. I know it's early. 5 o'clock now. Okay. I'm not even on the panel, and I'm anxious. So this oh.
Wow.
Who's ahead? I see those 10 texts or those phones underneath. That's good. Another 10 seconds or so. Text your keyword to 22333. And you may have a tie, so somebody else vote. I'm not kidding. I did not prepare for such a situation. Really, somebody knows. Obstacle course.
If we have to, we could also clear it and just have people vote for Mona and Rachel and see who the tiebreaker is.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Let's do that?
Yep. Rachel, I know who it was. Thank you very much, Rachel. And then there were 3.
I like
Round
the obstacle
3,
course.
SocialBridge. So these questions will revolve around the product, how you use it, challenges you've encountered, successes you've created. Question 1, what techniques did you use to roll out SocialBridge to your agency?
So we're right on the heels of implementation. So ours is a little bit off, but right now we're in the middle of a bake-off. So we've got 6 offices between the U.S. and U.K. They've got 4 weeks. Our team built out 5 templates, a global template, local template, client template, interest-based template and a department template. Gave the templates to cross-functional teams in the 6 offices, and they've got about a month to customize it for their geo. Every week we're getting together to do a show and tell of ideas. And basically the teams that don't really show up with anything, unfortunately, they will be outed.
Actually, I did a very long POC. So we had switched programs 3 times. And so it was starting to be a negativity in our agency that, oh, here we go, another system that's not going to work. So I took a very long time and made sure that we were adapting it for all departments and all cross platforms. And then what I did is I brought in a small group, 1 person from every department, including HR and administration, because we wanted to get away from emails and we wanted to use it for everything, not just clients and project management, but collaboration on the agency side also. So when we brought everybody in, we started building the manuals together, and it really helped because I was deep-seated in it, and everything made sense to me. And then when I would get other people in there, they would look around and go, well, I don't know what you're talking about, So I could see immediately the places that I needed to fix in the manual before training. Then we went into training of phase 1, and we're getting ready to go into phase 2, and I think the phases are very, very important. Get the adoption in early, make sure everybody's happy with it, fix all those bugs, and then go to phase 2. I also had upper management be in it from the start, and I think those were the reasons that the last 3 failed. They weren't using it. So if your president's not using it, why would you use it? If he can get away with it, you can get away with it, and you don't have to. So now the president is using it, and everybody else is very nervous about that. So they're adopting it very well.
Great. So I think one of the primary benefits at CAHG, the CFO of our company gave me SocialBridge. I'm a technology geek. They gave me SocialBridge, which is like giving candy to a baby. And they wanted me to learn every single thing that's available in SocialBridge before we launched it to the agency, because we have a very, very complicated routing process. It's not that we send out a proof to a team and have everybody go at it, and because everything has to go through the FDA, we have a very strict routing process internally. And so if I look on the servers right now, the way people were working, and because we have our custom configured teams, every workspace has to look the same and work the same, so that when one person moves from one team to another team, they can pick up very quickly. So I invested an incredible amount of time learning every feature that's available in SocialBridge, and my company allowing me to be non-billable for several months was awesome. We launched on the soft launch team. We took a soft launch team. We didn't want to launch it off to multiple teams. We didn't pick a journal ad or a 2-page flashcard. We picked our biggest pain point. It's an Adobe Air application that has 150 flash files. We're routing 1,250 pages through SocialBridge. We picked up our key learnings on how we can apply this to the easy jobs like a 2-page flashcard. So we took our biggest pain point, we took our key learnings for that, and now we're launching other teams. And Trung and Habib and Kenny are great friends through this whole process.
Excellent. So, sort of on the heels of that, what kind of resistance then did you initially encounter among your agency rolling it out? Some took a slow approach, a fast approach, a phased approach, a top-down and bottom-up. But what kind of resistance from your end customer, the user of the system, had you encountered perhaps when you initially rolled the product out?
We had absolutely no resistance whatsoever. I actually had people in the agency, when can I get into SocialBridge? Constantly asking me, when can they get into SocialBridge? And the reason I think we made, I took an effort. We have an internet site that's not in SocialBridge. We did communications to the agency on what's going on as we were launching this. We gave updates to everybody. We created excitement. I have people asking me, I need to try that file transfer right now. I get so many calls. I need to get into SocialBridge. I need to get into SocialBridge. There's anybody who doesn't want to get into SocialBridge.
You created an appetite. That's great.
Yes.
We had a little struggle with them wanting to share files through email still. they go to email. It's just what you're used to, it's your habit, and so we just shut down the ability to send documents above 5 megabytes, and that just totally took it right into SocialBridge.
You offered an option, a zero option.
Yeah, that's totally it,
Nobody offered you.
No resistance yet because we're not fully implemented. Probably more the opposite. We've had a lot of hand raisers say, I want to be on the team that actually gets this going. So there's a lot of clamoring for it.
Great. Thank you. How have clients you've invited, if you have at this point in time, how have clients you've invited into the system reacted to the use of SocialBridge? Regretted it at all smiles, somewhere in the middle? Have any of you done that at this point in time yet?
We haven't.
We haven't invited people, clients into the site. We've only been live for a month and a half. But what we did, we are using that file sharing with expireable links, which the clients just love that because we have 40, 50 meg files that they are not able to access our FTP site because of firewall issues, but we can do this with SocialBridge. So they love that part, but we haven't put any clients in the site yet.
Any clients asking, and if you have any clients asking for a tool like this, clamoring for a tool much like your users have been as well, maybe you can answer that too.
All of our clients ask what we're using. And they ask a lot of questions about it for their own systems, but we haven't invited them in. We have a lot of legal issues when we do that. We have a lot of government accounts. But we have found that using it as an FTP portal has worked really well. We've done workspaces basically where clients can go in and grab ads, TV spots, things like that to share on their own use and on their own will, so that's worked really well. But as far as collaborating in a workspace on projects, we haven't asked them in yet.
Ironically, this is the one thing that we have done. So Steve has helped a lot with our Toyota client. So the online creative routing implementation, we're using the feature without really having the system rolled out, and created a little sort of use case on that feature. If anyone needs client training, Steve has put together a great thing for Toyota. So it's good because we actually don't have it live, but that little feature we're using with the client today.
Excellent. And anybody else that's no longer on the panel, but with us in spirit?
Yeah, rub it in.
Want to share anything to add on any of these questions? Just additional feedback?
We've rolled it out to 2 clients, and one of them already had SocialBridge, but they were using it from a data perspective, so they weren't really routing anything through it. So adding them to have the ability to review and provide feedback was great. We had a little bit of a hurdle trying to figure out the proofs and all the notifications that went out when we uploaded like 300 proofs at a time. So trying to figure out, how we manage that, how we get them into the system. But once they were in there, they started driving, and then we had to start, kind of saying, okay, this person gets final approval, and you just get to look at it. So we had a lot of humps along the way, but I think we're there now. So that was positive.
Okay, great. And now it is time. I promise I'm not enjoying this.
I should have been nicer when I had taken.
Please vote Marie S. to 22333 or Brenda AM or Mona. And we're off. Uncomfortable. They all are on board. Mona commanding over half the votes thus far.
Yeah, that's good.
Not very good. Still see a couple of heads
There's
down.
some more change.
And
Oh, no, there's a change.
I get a basket.
Appreciate it. That was fun. No problem. It was good time.
And then
We're just going to
there was
Did you see that YouTube video where they were arm wrestling and the woman broke her arm?
no.
Ooh.
Hey, you'll get a vote Question one. Within the larger trend of going digital, we talked about that earlier on, which niches of new digital marketing do you think will be the winners, whether it be apps, HTML5, Flash, etc.? In particular, the larger trend of going digital, in particular niche, seems to be winning out so far.
This was a little bit of a hard question for me because I'm not a technologist, right? But I think where we're headed, software as a service, everyone's hearing about that. I think for us, what is we're using more, I would say, software as a service and software off the shelf. So if we can find bespoke or software that we can actually tailor, using things like SocialBridge, AdTask, Cognos, things that have sort of an application layer that we can start to customize for our special need or our clients. And then just in terms of like coding languages, there's always things that seem like, Flash is yesterday and, there's new stuff today. I think our philosophy has been we've had to really diversify our talent base because clients have different requirements. So we're having to have a lot more talent in the coding languages and a lot more fast speed to market using off the shelf. Right.
So in our industry, our target audience is the physician or the nurse practitioner. And what we're seeing is that the physicians are using iPads and iPhones and mobile devices more in their business. Even from a personal perspective, I took my daughter to the doctor, and I went in the office with her. The doctor had their iPad with them. They're doing everything on their iPad. So we are being asked by our clients to develop the viz aids that we normally, a sales rep would go in detail with a doctor with a viz aid, but now they're wanting that on their iPad. They're wanting it customized too, so that they can quickly go to the chapter that they want to talk about, because they have literally 5 minutes to talk to the physician. So we see iPads and mobile devices in our industry. As far as it goes with social media, the FDA hasn't given any guidance, so a lot of agencies that are going into social media, we can't go there, we can't live in that space because the FDA hasn't made any rulings on what you can say. It's very restrictive right now.
So diversifying the talent pool to accommodate diversifying the client's needs and a push towards mobile. Great. How do you promote cross-departmental collaboration with your own organization? We may have touched on this a little bit. And this is broader than just SocialBridge, the tool. It's just across the board. How are you promoting that overall collaboration?
So we have a couple almost reward structures. One is we have an annual team award. So the company gets to vote. It used to be the rising star, like who was the individual that was the coolest and the person we need to make sure we keep. Now we've migrated to a team award. So it's really recognizing team collaboration and who is driving the client's business forward, what did they do, and what made their experience better and different. So I think that's a nice shift that the agency's done. And I think other things too, just in terms of process, I talked a little bit about that whole idea of blender where the teams, basically the new process is a table, getting people together cross-discipline around the table in short amount of time to think and do has really helped us actually reimagine how we work.
So if I keep on going back to our custom configured teams, we're used to working that way. We pull the right talent together. They're used to working collaboratively, and all of that goes back to our shared values and expectations. So much like you have, we have what's called momentum moments. So if somebody recognizes somebody else meeting one of those shared values and expectations, they can post one of these momentum moments on our intranet, and it's available whenever we do our timesheets. We see everybody who's earned a momentum moment. So it just reinforces collaboration, and it reinforces our shared values and expectations.
Anyone else that's transported off the island want to share anything at all around that topic?
Food.
Food?
No, we have thank yous, online thank yous. So a person can send it out, and then there's a drawing at the end where someone could win something. And so it's a great way to thank our director, or thank the copywriter for doing what they did. And then I think just
knowing that we make a better product when we work well together, and then ping pong matches.
Great. The sales pitch. What kind of benefits are you experiencing in using tools like SocialBridge in your agency today?
Well, there's just so many. Well, transparency is huge. So, it just makes everything visible. Communication cycles are shorter. I think one of the biggest things, though, is the marketing memory. You're able to actually export that knowledge to other individuals very quickly. You can onboard new employees quickly. You can actually move the work without a lot of explanation where you may have needed it before. So I think for us, inculcating that marketing memory, there's so much turnover in the agency, and having the stuff still around and being able to reuse it is great.
Not isolated, not siloed out.
Right.
So our biggest benefit so far is the review and approve. It was interesting to hear a bunch of agencies haven't gone to use the review and approve yet. That's the first thing that we focused on. We wanted to get rid of the pain points of these paper tickets and these client service managers walking around with 100 pages across 4 different floors, and then when we had to send it to New York, they had to scan it, email it over to New York, and then we have a satellite office in San Francisco. So using the review and approve to route these 1,200 pages and all these different sections save time. And what our clients want, they want efficiency, and time is money. So that is one of the biggest benefits that we've had so far.
So sort of redirecting some of that more menial task of literally getting in an elevator and or shipping and scanning and all that, and redirecting that to a higher value effort to the client. That's great. Anything else? Benefits, SocialBridge, other panelists?
That's what you get for voting.
Show us.
Wow.
Just saying.
I like that. Okay. Thanks, Anne-Marie X to 22333 or Mona to 22333 and see who the sole survivor will be. Mona currently in the lead, but still coming in, and May starting to come closer. Not over yet. Polls are still open until 8 p.m.
Oh, getting close there.
We made sure to
Oh, it's close.
We made sure to remain politically neutral. Okay, Anne-Marie currently in the lead. Votes still coming in. Votes are not coming in. Oh, votes are coming in. Very exciting. Any more hands down?
Bless you. Oh, there's one more. Creep it back up there, Mona.
2 votes away.
This has been my favorite session. All right.
That was really close.
I would say the polls are closed, and our winner for today's panel is Anne-Marie. On behalf of the entire panel, who exerted a tremendous amount of bravery and a lot of really great thought leadership, I really appreciate everyone attending and participating. We have a couple of minutes from here that we're going to then head over and do a quick wrap-up on the other side of this wall. Really appreciate it. And again, give a round of applause for all the panelists.